Well, good morning from what is a somewhat misty start here at Warden Law for round 3 of the Pass Me Fast Ultimate Karting Championship. In our last programme, we brought you the super finals from our opening 2 classes that were Micromax and Senior Rotax. And in this programme, we'll be bringing you the remaining 3, Honda GX200, Mini Inter and Junior Rotax. Last time out then, the circuit here at Warden Law really did deliver some fantastic racing action. And there are now 2 classes that are halfway through the championship season.
Got to be careful, he's going to lose ground to both Pritchard and Caudle. And up the inside, McAndrew gets his run, and it looks like Bernard may get a chance as well. Into centre to the right, and there's the big dive at the inside from Pearson Bonnet Carter. That'll do on Rawson, but he's going to run wide on the exit. Much together on the inside, Oliver Spencer though makes his bid, dives through on the inside, gets into second place. Here he goes, up the inside. He got impatient. Make the dive, yes he does, and Oliver Spencer takes the lead. Very nicely done with 6.5 minutes on the clock still to go. Game on in 2023 again for Kai Hunter as he wins in his back garden. 2 hands in the air.
Well, really great racing in our opening 2 classes there in Programme 1, and we continue now then with the Honda GX200s. And as we look at the championship table, it's Ryan White who's leading on 363 points, having made the podium in both of the opening 2 rounds. And behind him sits Theo Bradshaw and Ollie Thompson. But let's not forget this class is split across that 950mm chassis and the 900mm chassis. And leading in the 900s is another hot young prospect, number 96, Ralphie Branscombe.
I'm Ralphie Branscombe and I race Honda Cadets as number 96. I feel really happy because I feel like I'm really pleased to be running at the top of the championship. It's really nice. I think I'm doing good overall too. And it's just lovely to be able to race up there with the 950s. And we all come off as friends at the end of the day. Racing as a privateer can be quite hard because, as you know, there's multiple karts on a team that can go out and have 3 different gearings out so they know what gearing to run within 2 sessions, while we have to test 4 different gearings and 4 different test sessions and 4 different PSIs and 4 different test sessions. It just can be really hard to know the data. At Warden Law, it's all about keeping your speed up. If you can have good speed, you'll be rapid. Like today, the track's really nice, so we're having good speed. But if it was like a wet day, you would want to keep the revs low. When it comes to overtaking, I think I'm going to have good overtakes into Gasworks and like first corner, like Senna 1, and maybe a good through the last corner. Come the end of the weekend, I hope I win and continue my lead of the championship and hopefully get a 56.9 out there on the track.
My name is Ryan White, I'm number 47 and I race in GX200s. The last round at Larkhall was really good for me because I got lots of points there and I learned a lot. I needed to fight for my position in the first lap. I think at Wilton Mill I didn't fight hard enough and I'd get like 2 or 3 people past me on the start because I wouldn't be aggressive enough or try and fight as hard as I should have. When I'm racing on a wet track, it feels like that I have to stay on the track. If I go off the track, that would ruin the whole race. So it's more just like slow and steady wins the race. By the end of this weekend, I'm hoping to extend my race lead and hopefully get a podium. I think, they're going to push me as hard as they possibly can to get some points out of me and to try and catch up and break my 33-point lead.
Best of luck to all of the youngsters then in the Honda GX200 class. Let's go and join your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
Well, this makes a nice change. Our cameraman, Ralphie Branscombe, in pole position for the Honda GX200 final alongside Ryan White. Bradshaw, Thompson, Spain and Haase. Off we go at Warden Law. The only standing start grid of the weekend. Honda GX200. Look at this, challenging down to the first corner, trying to make a gap. It's not going to happen on this occasion. But all of our drivers have managed to cut through as we ride on board with Branscombe, and that's White in front of us. So Ryan White got the best start off the grid. And as we battle our way forward, all 11 of our drivers are in position. So White and Branscombe, then Bradshaw, Thompson, Spain, Haase, Blair Smith, Andrew Sutherland, Amaya Thompson, Leland McNeish and Esme Rosie. They work their way forward then on this first lap. And so far so good for Ryan White, who leads the way from Ralphie Branscombe. They both came into this race having scored 6 points apiece over the course of the qualifying heats. 2 heat wins for Ryan White, 1 for Ralphie Branscombe, and then the super heat win for Ollie Thompson. So there's still plenty of racing to be had in this Honda GX200 bout. Goodness knows who's going to take the victory. It's definitely going to be very close, isn't it? Going to have to see how it all plays out. And there was a little bit of an issue going into this race about how close it had been between all of the drivers. I've got a feeling this is going to be a real sizzler between the 4 or 5 drivers up front. They work their way through Brian's bends. Here is Ralphie Branscombe. We're on board with him. Second position, chasing after the 47 of Ryan White, and the man behind us, that is Theo Bradshaw. Trying to make the bid on the inside line, and he's going to get there. Beautifully done from Theo Bradshaw. Into second position he goes. Great racing from these 3 up front. So Branscombe's just got to stay patient now in third position. Look for his chance to get back. He may want to play the long game here. Having been in pole position, he's now down in third, but there's still a long way to go in this Honda GX200 final. Bit of a twitch there from Bradshaw. Just about hangs it on before he loses the place to Ralphie Branscombe. So Branscombe still holds third position. Working their way out of the horseshoe, into paddock bend and onto the straight again. And look at the grain they're getting from the tyres. Those strips of rubber that come off the tyre and then get caught again by the tyre. That can really unsettle the balance of the front end of the car. You've got to be so careful where you pick those up, and you don't really have a chance to get any warning about when you're going to pick it up. So when there's pickup on the tyres, you've got to be very balanced. White, Bradshaw, Branscombe, Thompson. Spain is fifth from Sutherland. Then Haase, Smith, and Maya Thompson. And then it's Leland McNeish in front of Esme Rosie. Senna 1. Then up to Senna 2. Good tactics from the leaders up front. They're just doing their thing. 1, 2 and 3. Branscombe all over the back of Theo Bradshaw. Ryan White is trying to disappear up front. But if I'm Ralphie Branscombe, I am staying in third for the moment, and I'm going to push Theo Bradshaw. I'm not going to make the overtake. I'm going to sit here in third position. Well, up the inside. That's a lovely bid, though, from Sutherland, who has to defend to Ashley Haase. So Andrew Sutherland, who started 8th, is now into 6th position. Good work from Sutherland. Definitely one of his better race weekends. And he taps the helmet to Ashley Haase. Come on, let's go get the top 5. We can catch them. Branscombe having a think about the inside line there of Bradshaw. It's a balancing act. You don't want to sit too long behind the guy in second place, just in case you lose out to the leader. But at the same time, it's quite advantageous to sit there in second position and let them do all the hard work to chase the leader, as you look after your own kart in the process. Here comes Spain. Driving up the inside, can't get the move. Had to think about it though, didn't he? So Spain on Thompson, and Ollie Thompson, who won the Super Heat earlier on this morning, has been able to come through and hold on to that 4th position for the time being. So down to the hairpin again. Trying to make the bid on the inside line. Good run off the gasworks and through the horseshoe. Patience. Wait. Wait. Then get to the brakes. Dive in on paddock bend. Look at the time that Branscombe's made up there on Theo Bradshaw as a result of just a little bit of patience. Just watching these two. This is what Branscombe's doing great here. Just sitting in third position, letting these guys do their thing. He knows that White is obviously sustaining the lead, but Bradshaw is the one who's got to lead the charge to catch up. So Branscombe is in the box seat here. He can pick his moment and go for an overtake in the closing stages. But he just needs to sit pretty at the moment in third position and let it all unravel. Bit of a slide into Senna 1. Look at the 3 different perspectives of the lines there from these 3 drivers. White, Bradshaw and Branscombe. Thompson in 4th from Spain, then Haase, Sutherland, Smith, Thompson, McNeish and Rosie. And all 11 drivers are still doing a great job. Nobody overdriving the kart, everybody just bringing it home nicely for the moment. And I have to say, on the whole, it has been an incredibly smooth and clean green day of racing in the finals. We've had some dramatic and crazy moments in the past, but not on this occasion. Everybody's driving hard but fair and firm. And that's what we like to see. But it is very tight now. Bradshaw's done the hard work. Has caught up to Ryan White. But White is not giving him any satisfaction at all at the moment. As Branscombe chases after them. Brilliant pictures as these guys are literally being caught. Oh, and a bit of a mistake there. Branscombe trips up on the curb. I think he saw an opportunity there on Bradshaw, but then White made an error as well, and that was the chain reaction. It's kicked Branscombe off the trio for the moment. He's got to try and catch up to them, but if White keeps defending, it won't be long before Branscombe catches up to them anyway. Look at that, Bradshaw, just a little love tap on the bumper. Just reminding you, by the way, Ryan, I'm right here. You cannot afford to make a single mistake, or I'm going to take the lead. 4th place, Thompson. 5th place, Spain. Then behind them is Ashley Haase, onto the main straight again. And down over the finish line on the run to turn 1. I tell you what, our drone flyer thinks they can race in this championship. They're definitely keeping up with the front of the pack, no matter which competition we're watching. Branscombe has a decent gap back now to the guys behind, if you look to that. And up the inside, that's a lovely dive from the 72 of Spain as he finally gets his man. He gets past Ollie Thompson. That's nicely handled. And now we've got this duel still kicking up between White and Bradshaw. Still very close indeed between these two. Onto the main straight. Where's Branscombe? There he is. Third position. He's lost a bit of tact to them, though. He's got about a second or so to make up. Spain, though, now into 4th place in front of Thompson. And Ashley Haase battling away with Andrew Sutherland. Those two have swapped places again of late. And then it's Blair Smith ahead of Amaya Thompson, Lena McNeish and Esme Rosie. So we watch this duel again. Sutherland versus Haase. Haase thinks he's got 6th position pretty much nailed. Andrew Sutherland has other ideas. I think he wants a piece of this. So Andrew Sutherland is going to try his best to make the bid to get back into 6th position on Ashley Haase. Haase doing a good job. Holds it through the hairpin at centre 2. Gets a little bit tight on the exit though. That could back him up. Right, left, right at the back chicane. The leaders, however, several seconds up the road. Still having a terrific duel. And Bradshaw's going to get his chance on the inside. And they bang wheels. Oh, a big moment. As Bradshaw gets through. And Ryan White loses out. He can't believe his luck. He's got 2 hands in the air. He can't believe it. As Branscombe is going to get through into 2nd position into turn 1. Wow, I tell you what, Bradshaw and White come together. And there's still plenty of time to go in this race. But that has surely given Theo Bradshaw the chance to get away up front. Ryan White is not a happy bunny at all. And that is definitely going to give a little bit of an incident investigation there between the drivers. But certainly for the moment, Bradshaw is your leader from Branscombe and White. How is this going to end? Goodness me. Still got Thompson versus Spain. They're going to continue together. It's a nice move up the inside from Bradshaw, but it didn't quite work out in Ryan White's favour. Bradshaw was able to get through. And they're going to have a look at it. Here's the move on the inside. Spain is going to get the run. He does get there. Lovely job from Ed Spain. Ollie Thompson's going to have to fight back in the closing stages of this race. But it's definitely going to be a tough one from here on out. As Bradshaw now leads Branscombe and White with 1 lap to go after this one. And apparently they are investigating the incident between Bradshaw and White. They are going to look into it. A fascinating situation, a very tough duel between the top 3 drivers. Branscombe still looking for his opportunity, but Ryan White is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's working with Branscombe to close back up to Bradshaw, and he's got the red mist, so they are eating up the road. Fascinating stuff as they continue. They hop over the curbs. Down to the gasworks. Here comes the move from Ryan White. He gets there, goes into 2nd place. Now, go get Theo Bradshaw. That's his one objective. He is trying his best to go and get him, but he's got just over a lap to do something about Theo Bradshaw. Meanwhile, Ollie Thompson has got back through on Ed Spain. He's back into 4th position. Their battle is going right to the wire. Here we go, last lap. And look at that. In the draft, Ryan White has got right back up to Theo Bradshaw. So, the boxing match continues. Ding, ding. Back to your corners, boys. You're not going to get him into the dog leg. You may be Ryan White, but even Theo Bradshaw wasn't born yesterday. He's not going to leave you any whiff of a gap through the dog leg or through St John's. Maybe into centre 1. No chance. Theo Bradshaw holding on to this. This is going to be very tight all the way, isn't it? Will there be the slingshot move into the gasworks? Not if Theo Bradshaw is alert, there won't. This could go through to the horseshoe. It could even go to Paddock Bend. Down into gasworks. Here's the defensive move for Theo Bradshaw. Ryan White up the inside. They lock wheels. They bang wheels. Ryan White gets through. And so does Branscombe. And Branscombe's going to go for the lead. In the horseshoe. He's through. Ralphie Branscombe. What a perfect tight move. Oh, and up and over. Ryan White skates out the back. Between him and Theo Bradshaw. Runs wide. Branscombe gets the victory. Bradshaw in 2nd. White in 3rd. What a phenomenal final lap. And Ralphie Branscombe is going to take the victory in magnificent fashion from Bradshaw and Ryan White.
Ralphie Branscombe, right, leaping onto the spot for the interview. Talk me through what just happened.
It was epic. At the last corner, the top two had a bit of a rough one, so I just decided to get past Theo, and then I managed to slip past Ryan in the last complex corners.
That's exactly what you did, and it made for a really exciting finish. You were on the bubble for the whole of the race, though. You were in touch at the front for lap after lap after lap. You just had to keep your head.
Yeah, it was really hard to keep my head, but I managed to, and I'm so happy. Well, I'd like to thank all my sponsors like Sharp, Adrenico and JCC Young Ones. They're very helpful, but most importantly, I want to thank my mechanic, my dad.
Theo, just try and talk us through what happened there. You kind of got yourself ahead of Ryan White, and then Ryan came back, and then in the final quarter, suddenly Ralphie Branscombe pops up.
So it was in the race, I tried to catch Ryan White ahead of me. I caught him and I overtook him, and then I pulled a gap, got caught up, and then he came back at me. So then we lost the gap from Ralphie and he overtook us.
It was one of those races, I think, Theo, watched it from the sidelines, where between the three of you in the closing laps, I was thinking, I'm not sure which one of these youngsters is going to win it. It could have been anyone's, I think.
Yeah, I think it could have been anyone's as well, but we just needed to be smart in that race and work together, but that's not what happened.
Let's bring in Ryan White. Come on in, Risey. Listen, where do we start with working that one out? Tell us what went on.
Well, there was tons of different things that went on there. Well, at the start, yeah, I was in front and Theo was kind of pushing me behind, and then, well, I guess me and Branscombe started battling a bit, and Theo got away, and in the end we managed to catch him up, but it was quite unfortunate for me because I kind of got caught up, and yeah.
Well, the Mini Interclass is loaded with talented drivers throughout the field, but at the top of the championship table is talent and consistency that's showing through, with Jacob Ashcroft and Charlie Wolfett in positions 1 and 2. Behind them in fourth is a driver who's making great progress with Zipcut. That's Thomas Hill. And the man that came fourth last time out at Larkhill, just missing out on the podium, is Dan Holland Racing's Noah Barham.
Hi, I'm Noah Barham. I race for Dan Holland Racing for Kart 127. At Larkhill last time, it was quite a relaxed race. I came through the back of it. I struggled a tiny bit with pace, but I tried to catch up with Carl Denham and Charlie Wolfett. They were fighting at the end. I couldn't quite get there, but I was happy to be fourth at the top. I think to get the overtakes done here, you've got to looking at the slower corners like the hairpins and down the straights. I don't know the circuit very well, but I find it quite enjoyable, whereas it's quite fast and flowing, and I've had quite good experiences here in the past. I raced with Dan Holland Racing with my mechanic Gray and Hill. I think they're a very good team because I came in just before the season. They worked very hard to get me on track, and I'm finding a bit of success early on in the season. Think about this weekend, a result on Sunday night. I hope I'd be happy with a top 3, try and rack up the points for this season and be quite consistent. Hi, I'm Thomas Hill. I race kart number 66 for Zipcut. I drive for Zipcut. They're really good because they help me a lot progress in last year in Honda to get to where I am now. Making the switch from Honda to Mini Inter, it's a lot more powerful with more grippier tyre, so you just got to get used to being able to carry more speed into the corners. At Warden Law, I think a good overtaking place would be Gasworks and the first 2 points. Well, we're really hoping to get a top 3 this weekend, but if not, hopefully a top 5 to get some decent points.
Well, the talking's over and now the racing starts. Let's go join your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
Mini Inter Super Final. Charlie Wolfett and Finley Lines on the front row of the grid. Luca Holmes, Ballack and Thomas Hill from Dan Minto and Jacob Ashcroft with Meek, Very, Collinson and King. Off we go. Up to the first corner here at Warden Law. And this is going to be a tough one as they work their way through the first corner. Is everybody going to get through without incident? All 24 drivers pushing to try and get a decent position on the start. Looks like it's going to be pretty clean, actually. Fair play to everybody. They kept out of harm's way. As the drone tries to pick up the action, they work their way through St John's and up through to Centre 1 and Centre 2. Charlie Wolfett and Finley Lines starting from the front row of the grid. Lots of big moves in the opening couple of laps, and there up the inside is another one, as that looked like Jacob Ashcroft on the warpath, trying to work his way forward. So Jacob Ashcroft has got himself in a 3rd position on the opening lap, but there's the move as well from the 4th place man. Luca Holmes Ballack gets through, and also through gets Dan Minto. But at the expense of Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill is going to get back past. Lovely bit on the inside line. Thomas Hill will not be forced around. So that's really nicely handled, and as they come off the final turn, it's all going very well indeed in this very early doors of battle in the mini-inters. My goodness, they have given us such an amazing start to this race. Charlie Wolfett in front of Findlay Lyons. Ashcroft up to third, as we know. But Thomas Hill managing to hang on for the likes of Minto. And then we have King in there. Charlie King has worked his way forward, along with Luca Holmes-Balak, who started third originally. Has lost a few places, but is definitely still in the fight to move his way forward. Just tapping their way through. They've got to be very careful in these slower hairpins at centre 1 and centre 2. Then up to back straight. In through the back chicane and on the run to the gasworks. This is where things are going to be a very interesting move up the inside. Is that going to be the change for the lead, I think? A change for second, certainly. Ashcroft getting the move there on Findlay Lyons. Charlie Wolfett still living life up in the front. Thomas Hill making his own bid as he gets through on Luca Holmes-Balak. So very nicely done as they work their way through to the final hairpin and onto the main straight again. 10 minutes to go here. 10 minutes plus the additional lap, don't forget. Still lots can play out in this mini-inter race as the drone is trying to keep up with the race leaders and is struggling at the moment. These guys going properly quickly on the inside. Lovely opportunistic move from Luca Holmes-Balak as he dives in on Thomas Hill. That's for 6th position. Now he can go after Charlie King and try and get into the top 5. But there's a whole queue of talent here. Holmes-Balak, Hill, Meek, Barham, Very, Collinson. And there is Hasnain Khan in 12th position in front of Oliver White. So a lot of great talent in the middle of this gaggle. Here's the move again from Meek. Having a look for the inside line. Can he get there? He had to think about it. Decided against it. You've got to be very careful. But the Synergy Race Team driver knows that you can't take too many gambles in this race. You have to know that the move is going to come off. You can't just guess. So very interesting, intriguing stuff from the mini-inters as they come off of the paddock bend and onto the main straight again. Flying up towards Brian's Bends, literally, as we go through. Great racing for the mini-inters. You can see just how tight it is here in the mid-pack. There's everybody keeping it nice and tidy behind the 6th place man. Luca Holmes-Balak still working his magic as they go through together. There's a change for 6th position on the offing as well, though. Up the inside, Luca Holmes-Balak actually having to retain his position. So he had lost it, and now he's gained it back again. Great racing as the drivers continue to duel away. We're just keeping a watching brief there on Jack Collinson as he worked his way through up to the back straight. But the top 4 have got themselves into a very neat and tidy position up front. Very nicely handled. Now on the inside, Meek tries again, but this time he's not close enough to Thomas Hill. He can't quite make it work. So as the drivers again switch their way through the horseshoe, they will now fly their way to the paddock bend. And onto the main straight again. Charlie Wolfett bangs in the fastest lap of the race. A 54.77 on this occasion. So Charlie Wolfett still having a very good race of it as he continues to make good work. There is the 66. Thomas Hill hunting down Charlie King. Luca Holmes-Balak having made his way now into 5th position. But this is the challenge for 3rd position. You've got Dan Minto all over the back of Findlay Lyons. Findlay Lyons definitely trying to follow in the footsteps of his dad Stuart, who's raced in the British Touring Cars. And up the inside, the 66, Thomas Hill, gets his run there on Charlie King. Nicely done. Out of the final turn and onto the main straight. Another look again, though, up the inside. Charlie King, you really didn't think you were going to get away with that, did you? As he tries again, Thomas Hill hangs on. That is brilliant defence from Thomas Hill through Brian's Bends. I genuinely thought he was going to lose that one. But Charlie King has kept it together. Still the 81 of Findlay Lyons being hustled. He's lost out to Minto. Now Luca Holmes-Balak has made his bid and he's trying to come through. Diving through up the inside. Luca Holmes-Balak getting his run on the inside and gets the move then on Findlay Lyons to move up into 4th position. That is very nicely handled indeed. But Charlie Wolfett throughout this race has just been steadily getting on with it. However, Jacob Ashcroft is catching him. Diving up on the inside line, Charlie King gets his run at the gasworks on Thomas Hill. Here comes the 127, Noah Barham. Barham trying to get through. He can't make it. So he's just got to hang back a little bit more. In through Paddock Bend and onto the main straight again. Still hustling at centre 2 and on the run to the back straight. This is where things can get very tricky. Oh, a bit of a wobble there from Thomas Hill. He actually had his hand in the air. What are you doing? He was not happy at all. And now Meek is going to get his run. Surely this time, this is the moment for Oliver Meek. It is. Beautifully done. Oliver Meek gets there. Very nicely handled indeed as they go through the horseshoe. So Meek is now in front of Barham and Very. And as we continue this cracking race, We still have a little bit of time to play with. And as you can see, the 228 Dan Minto is leading the cavalry, trying to charge after Wolfett and Ashcroft up front. Out of the gasworks. And what can Finley Lines do? He's all over the back of Luca Holmes-Ballack. Meanwhile, further back, you've got Oliver Meek having caught up to the back of Noah Barham. Oh no, wait, that's Barham through on King. So Barham has got past King. Very nicely done. As they work through the hairpin onto the main straight again. So that's Noah Barham up into 6th position then. Past King and ahead of Meek, Hill and Very. And here comes the overtaking move on the inside. Oh, big commitment from Finley Lines. He gets through on Luca Holmes-Ballack. That puts him into 4th position. Lovely job. So Finley Lines gets one of the moves of the race into the first corner there. Nicely handled. Wolfett is still hanging on here in front of the dominant Jacob Ashcroft. Although for once, he has not been quite so dominant here at Warden Law. So Charlie Wolfett has been able to show him a clean pair of heels and is actually keeping a second or so in front. 9/10 of a second is the gap. But this is the real battle. Finley Lines, having worked his way through past Luca Holmes-Ballack, is now trying to take on Dan Minto, but they've got a bit of time to catch up to him. And they're running out of seconds. They're running out of laps. So the leaders are going to go through and start the penultimate lap. Because once the time runs out, they finish the lap they're on, and then they have one more. Charlie Wolfett only 8/10 of a second clear, but look, they're 5 seconds ahead of Dan Minto and 6 ahead of Finley Lines et al. Holmes-Ballack, Barham, King, Meek, Hill, Very and Collinson. And we are on lap 14 out of 15. 13 laps completed. Charlie Wolfett ahead of Ashcroft, then Minto, and then this battle. Minto, Lines, Holmes-Ballack and Barham, I should say. Minto is the car just a couple of kart lengths in front. But Finley Lines is doing his best to run in 4th position in the hope that this race is going to come to him. Up at the inside! That's brave, that's daring, it's Luca Holmes-Ballack, and past both of them is going to go Noah Barham. Noah Barham waits patiently for the gap to open up and manages to make it work, and they're side by side. Barham loses out again. Goodness me. Luca Holmes-Ballack gets his man, so did Finley Lines. So Barham back down to P6. Frustration going into the final lap. What a terrific race. And it looks as though everybody, despite how roughhouse it is, they have kept it very clean indeed. Diving up the inside, there's the move. Finley Lines back into 4th position again, past the 28 of Luca Holmes-Ballack. Watch for Noah Barham. Up on the inside, Holmes-Ballack gets through. Finley Lines gets washed out. Charlie King moves up to 6th position. Oh, so unfortunate for Finley Lines. He was the one caught out there, piggy in the middle, as Thomas Hill now gets the dive on the inside of Oliver Meek to retain that position. But out in front, it is going to be Charlie Wolfett who will take the victory in fantastic style. There he is, quietly getting on with the job. Jacob Ashcroft couldn't catch him. So Charlie Wolfett will take the victory here at Warden Law. Secret Squirrel out front has done it. Jacob Ashcroft in 2nd place. Dan Minto in 3rd position in front of Luca Holmes-Ballack and Noah Barham, as out of the final turn, Jack Collinson goes wheel to wheel with Charlie Very. And how about that? Not a single penalty to hand out at the end of a gripping race. What a battle here at Warden Law. Charlie Wolfett, your winner in style.
Charlie, huge congratulations. Started on pole, finished on pole, top step of the podium. Well done, a lights the flag victory. It was too easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Talk us through that race. How did it play out for you, though? Because no racing is ever easy.
No, so we got a really good start, really big gap. And then we literally just sat in the lead, and I was getting quite nervous actually because Jacob kept closing in, but my team just kept telling me to smooth it off, and we came out with a win.
2nd place on the day on that one there, mate, but the face says it all. You don't look that very pleased with it.
Well, it was hard to try and keep up with Charlie, but I tried my best, so.
I think you did really well. You started on 6th there. You made up some places to get yourself to 2nd, and you two boys were, well, you were streets ahead of everybody else in the field, so you've obviously got the speed.
Yeah, I had some good speed, obviously, having a DNF in my 2nd heat yesterday, and I just tried to get to the front.
Yeah, so maybe that DNF yesterday might have put you a little bit further up the grid for today. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think because my nose cone got stuck inside my tyre, it just forced me to retire, and I probably could have got a few more places and maybe the heat win, but we go again.
So Dan, just a quick word there. 3rd place for you. You were in clear air for most of that lap. The boys ahead of you, they were a bit too far ahead, weren't they?
Yeah, it was really far ahead, really fast.
Yeah, tell us how that race played out there. You made up, I think, 2 positions to 5th to 3rd on the day.
Yeah, I had a really good start, and then I tried to past lines, and then he got back past me, and then I got him back on the horseshoe.
Well, we finish our highlights programme with Junior Rotax, which is easily one of our most competitive classes, where making the super final is an achievement in itself. Gracie Mitchell of Sam Pollitt Racing has really been finding her form this weekend and has been unlucky not to make the podium. At round 1, she picked up the Circuit Watch's Driver of the Weekend award, and at round 2, she battled hard to start the super final on the second row of the grid. I caught up with her earlier on to ask if maybe this could be her weekend.
Hi, my name is Gracie Mitchell. I race number 61 in the Junior Rotax class with Sam Pollitt Racing. This year I feel like I've made really great progress considering where I was last year. I feel as though from last year I only kind of became a competitor towards the end of the season, which kind of put us to a disadvantage when it came to the championship.
Yeah.
Obviously the team led by Sam Pollitt himself gives me really great feedback after every session. I receive feedback from obviously the data coaches, Anderson and Serenetti, who also go through GoPro and other things. I have Lewis Brown, who obviously watches while I'm on track, and he gives me feedback as well, what he feels like I was making like good areas of the track and not so good. And then obviously my mechanics, both James and Matt, try and give me as great feedback as possible to help me improve. Being in a strong class with so many drivers can be, in a sense, an advantage, because obviously it gives a lot of challenges, whereas I'd say it can be a disadvantage due to the consistent heats needed, because they're so important to actually get into the super heat for the final.
Yeah.
This weekend I'm definitely aiming to keep my heats consistent as usual, hoping for solid results to give me a good starting position in the super heat tomorrow. I'd say for the final I'd be hoping to get a top 5 if not podium, as obviously it's a local track to me and I'm quite confident around here.
Well, best of luck to Gracie. Let's see how she gets on, and indeed all of the Junior Rotax drivers, as we go and join your race commentator, Jake Sanson.
Get ready for a thriller in Junior Rotax. Graham and Leslie, Goff and Ingram, Stevens, Savinkoff, Hobson, Thompson, Mitchell, Harfield. Let's race at Warden Law. Up to the first corner. Good start from Graham, but I think Leslie might get the jump as we go on board with Ewan Sharman in the O-plate. Mixing his way through the first corner. And that does look to me like Finn Leslie's got through. Indeed he has. So a very good start. Ingram's got into second. Whoa! A couple of drivers mixing it over the dog leg. That was not the easiest corner to negotiate when you've got 34 drivers trying to go for the same bit of tarmac. It can all get a little bit dicey. Sharman's having a battle in the midfield here. That's his teammate Aris Mijauskis trying to stay in front of at the moment. The Argenti boys going to battle, but Leslie is your leader. Ingram up to second. I think Josh Graham is still there in third position. There's the 51. That is Lewis Goff. He's having a great battle in the top 5. As everybody mixes it through the horseshoe. As up the inside, Stevens is going to go for third. Ingram is not going to let him have it. Oh, they lock wheels, and Stevens goes kicked out wide. Lewis Goff is going to get into fourth position. When wheels interlock in karting, it can be very messy. Look at this, Leslie having to go defensive on Josh Graham. Joshua Graham wanted to get back into the lead fairly sharpish. There's battles galore, as you can see Ingram getting a little bit frustrated, but he held that battle of nerves with Ollie Stevens, so now that's probably pumped him up a bit. Leslie again, just getting a little bit protected, but not enough. Josh Graham's going to dive in and take the lead, and there goes a beautiful move from Goff as he dives in on Ingram. This time, he's into third. So Graham now leads Leslie, Goff, Ingram, Stevens and Hobson. And the field knits its way through. That is that Charman into 7th place? Has he already got past Harfield? No, not quite. So Harfield in the 121 is still there. There is Harfield as we ride on board with Ewan Sharman with the first corner. And look how loose the different lines are between these two. Look at the back end really wanting to overtake the front for Tommy Harfield in the 121. He's having to hold it. Look at this battle. Ingram hanging on here in front of the 81 of Ollie Stevens, who's now worked his way back into 5th position, I should say. But the top 3 have now broken clear. Very nicely done so far from Josh Graham, Finn Leslie and Lewis Goff. The 3 drivers that started in the top 3 are back where they were before, as now we're watching the 50 coming through. That's Lizzie Mentia. Lizzie Mentia now knocking on the door of the top 10. And then into Paddock Bend, the tight hairpin at the end of the lap. Hobson still trying to step up to Freddie Ingram. That is the lap of Warden Law. Fabulous racetrack this. It's given us so much great drama in British karting for many decades now. And here in the Ultimate Karting Championship, Really is giving us more. Oh, careful. That's not the way to get an overtake. That's the way to lose a place as far as Lizzie Mentia is concerned. She makes mincemeat of Alice Majauskis. Unfortunately, he just got a little bit too close to the back bumper of Jack Thompson, and that was enough for Mentia to steal the deal. Majauskis getting back in on Mentia, though. Gets the move back again. Good comeback from Alice Majauskis. Back at the front, Joshua Graham, having got back into the lead, taking things nicely in his stride as Ewan Sharma now catches up to the top four. His next target is Ollie Stevens. He's definitely chipping away at the advantage. Look at how big the slide is from the kart as it comes off the tail of the horseshoe. Then you have to change direction, ready for paddock bend. It is not easy to stay on top of, is it? So through they come again. Out of Brian's bends and into the dogleg. Great racing from everybody so far. Unfortunately, we have lost a couple of drivers. Reg Haywood appears to have retired from the race. That's very unfortunate for him. And we had one non-starter. That's Elliot Powell. So hopefully he'll be back for more at the next round of the championship. So Graham, Leslie, Goff, Stevens and Charman. Watch out for Charman. Ollie Stevens knows he's going to be a threat. Goff is defending at the gasworks. Watch for Charman. Here comes the Charmander. The O-plate is pushing hard. And the more that Goff defends, the more that he backs Stevens into the path of Charman, the more that there is going to be a problem. There is Reg Haywood's car off to the left there. So I'm afraid his race is over. Still, this battle rages for third position as we go over the straight again in the midfield. Just as much great racing in the mid-pack as there is at the front as we go back on board with Charman, trying to take on the 81 of Ollie Stevens in fourth position. In front of them, the defensive and ruthless Lewis Goff. Hanging on to third for the moment. Through centre one. Through centre two. Stevens not quite close enough to make that bid on Lewis Goff just yet. As he works his way forward. Skating their way over the top of the chicane. Here's the move! Uncorks the bottle. Gets through. Beautifully done from Stevens. And Charman is going to get through as well on the exit. Not a lot Lewis Goff can do about that one. He has to let it go. That's very unfortunate indeed. But Charman is going to move up into fourth position, and as we look back, a frustrated Lewis Goff now is to get his head down and go and try and get some of those places back. Down from third to fifth in a heartbeat. So Graham leads Leslie, Stevens, Charman, then Goff. Is that Ingram still getting into his battles out there? Yes, it is. As they battle away. Oh no, sorry, that is the 49. That is Wooden having a great battle with Mentia and Mitchell. So just outside the top 10, Kenzo Craigie has been on the absolute warpath since the start of this race. He started dead last, and he is now in 14th. That is incredible from Kenzo Craigie. Just an absolute megastar, getting on with it quietly. When you start dead last, to try and work your way back into the top 10 is always pretty tricky. But Kenzo Craigie, what a charge through. On the back of the 81. Charman again attacks Ollie Stevens. Down the main straight. Charman looks over his shoulder. Knows that Lewis Goff is still right there. Into the right-hander at turn one. Brian's bends. 1, 2, 3. And then up to the dogleg as it tightens in on the exit. Oh, that's Morgan Hudson-Brown. Morgan Hudson-Brown, I'm afraid, is out of this race. Now, that's very unfortunate. I don't think he's the only one who is out of the race, I'm afraid. There's more drama as Morgan Hudson-Brown is removed from the scene. I think Lucas Blandford might be off the road as well. I can't see the 159 out on track anymore. And, oh, a couple of places lost there in the mid-pack. As I think that's the 112 dropping back. Hobson. Oh, goodness me. Jumping around all over the place. There's so many battles to watch as Thompson now finds himself tucked up behind the 40 of Dan Kilpatrick. As we go back on board with Charman. In the top 5 still raging. Is that Ollie Stevens behind us? Yes, it is. So Charman has managed to get through into third position. We didn't see it, but Charman has come through into third place in front of Ollie Stevens. So great racing, but he's managed to get the way through. 125 still in the midst there. A great run in the mid-pack for Sky Parker. Diving up the inside. Some great overtakes in this field. Gracie Mitchell pulling off another one. So that puts Gracie Mitchell forward. Kenzo Craigie is trying to go wheel to wheel though. Beautiful from Craigie. And still they duel away. Excellent stuff in this mid-pack as Gracie Mitchell trying to hang on to it. Lizzie Mentia getting the dive up the inside there. Majauskis, careful guys. This is going to get messy if we're not careful. Some terrific racing. Whitcomb is in the middle of all that as well, I do believe. For the treble 4, Kenzo Craigie has worked his way forward past all this to 12th position now. As we watch Kilpatrick battling away with Mitchell, Wooden, Mentia, Majauskis, Thompson, Whitcomb, Buttle and Sakaguchi. So Shun Sakaguchi just running in the outskirts of the top 20 so far. Not bad for the new boy. Josh Graham still having a solid run. Diving through up the inside line. And Josh Graham in front of Finn Leslie, Ewan Sharman. Having a great race to try and catch up to the leaders, but look at this battle further back. Gracie Mitchell trying to work her way into the top 12 and has to get past Kilpatrick in order to get there. Mitchell having a solid race of it. But as we go into the closing stages, there is Joshua Graham, still 9/10 of a second ahead of Finn Leslie. An excellent run through the field from Ewan Sharman, though, in third position, who is trying to catch Finn Leslie to go for second in the closing stages. Ollie Stevens hasn't given up on the podium yet, though. Third position, Ewan Sharman is in front of him. But having worked his way up from 14th on the grid, I don't think Sharman is going to be particularly cooperative. He's going to be focusing purely on Finn Leslie up in front. Never mind what's going on behind him with Ollie Stevens. Then Goff in fifth, from Ingram, Hobson, Harfield, Russell and Will Antrobus doing a fair job. He's worked his way forward as well from 22nd on the grid. He's now in 10th as Kenzo Craigie has gone from 34th on the grid to 11th. Amazing fight backs in this super final. As we go into the closing 2 laps of the race now, Joshua Graham continues his run in front of Finn Leslie and Lewis Goff. Down in 5th position behind Sharman and Stevens. So Lewis Goff still feels like he's got a chance here, but he is dropping into the clutches of Freddie Ingram. He's got to be careful in these last couple of laps. But the third position battle is definitely on between Sharman and Stevens. Stevens still wants this. Time has run down to 0. We're on lap 17 out of 18. At the end of lap 16, those are the gaps to the left of your screen. But we're on the 17th lap. And Josh Graham hanging on in front of Leslie, Charman and Stevens. And those three, Leslie, Charman, Stevens, are tightening up. There could still be a last gasp battle in the closing stages. We've lost a fair few now. We've lost Hayward, we've lost Morgan Hudson-Brown, we've lost Lucas Bradford, we also lost Ben Cordingley. So that's rather unfortunate for Ben. But we go into the final lap, and I don't see Josh Graham losing this. But there's certainly going to be some interesting battles further back as the race continues into the closing stages here. Leslie still trying to hang on from Charman. Charman is throwing everything he can at Finn Leslie, but has he got enough time to catch up to the Cato Motorsport driver in front of him? This is not going to be easy to settle. But Leslie's going to be steadfast. He's going to hold on a second. Charman's going to have to throw something quite spectacular at him, into the gasworks maybe, or even through the horseshoe. Joshua Graham is going to have this. Leslie's defending. He doesn't need to at that point. He had a couple of cart legs, and now Charman's got a chance. But through out front, Joshua Graham is going to take the win, no problem at all. Leslie will defend nicely, so Graham will get the victory. Joshua Graham takes the win. Second for Finn Leslie in front of Ewan Sharman and Ollie Stevens. Great racing to the flag. Lewis Goff in P5 in front of Freddie Ingram, Jack Hobson, Tommy Harfield, Deacon Russell and Will Antrobus. Massive shout out to Antrobus, who made up 12 places, to Kenzo Craigie, who made up 23, and Dan Kilpatrick, who made up 20. Great racing at Warden Law. Plenty to talk about after the race with Kev down in pit lane.
Big smile there, Joshua. You started on pole and you took the checkered flag. A dominant race.
Yeah, it was a great race. I struggled a bit at the start, dropped down to third, but made my way up and made a big gap, and I'm chuffed.
You should be really chuffed, because once you made that gap, I was stood up here watching you from this first corner. It was a dominant race. You didn't look like you were giving that up. You know, barring a mechanical, nothing was going wrong for you, was it?
Yeah, the kart was spot on. Thanks to Argenti for a good setup and not Ogden race engines.
Your body language says that I think you're happy, but you're a little bit reserved there, Finn.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it's good points for the championship, but obviously you want to win every time. But, you know, we did our best this weekend and come out with a good result.
I think it's a really strong result for you, because what you said there is it's all about winning the championship, good championship points. You got third place at Larkhall. You've gone one better this time here at Warden Law. A strong weekend all in all. Lots to be positive about.
Yeah, I mean, a few of our people around us in the championship haven't had the best of weekends, which means obviously, hopefully I can move up a few. But I didn't finish the final at Wilton Mill, so I'm a bit further behind on the points. But it's all added up this weekend. Third place from starting back on row 14, or rather row 7 in 14th. Good weekend for you, Ewan.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately we had some bad luck throughout the heats, meaning that we had to start P9 for the superheat, which made it a tough race for the final, meaning we had to start P14. But yeah, just making our way through progressively. Didn't have the best of starts, stayed in the same sort of position, and then slowly made our way through. We had the pace to chase after the lead. It's just a shame we couldn't get Finn in the end.
You did really well. It was great watching you from this top end. You were just sort of, like you say, just making your way through the pack. But once you got up there, I mean, to be honest, Josh and Finn, they were a bit unassailable. They got themselves way out in front.
Yeah, of course. It was always going to be a task to get to the top two. I know that Josh and Finn are very good drivers, and they were able to build that gap at the start. I was hoping that me and Ollie could work together to push up to them, but evidently weren't able to. But overall, it was a good race. I'm happy to take away a podium from it.
What a great way to end the weekend. 3 more fantastic super finals in the Mini Inters, the Honda Cadets and the Junior Rotax. Those classes now thriving as we have 3 rounds to go in the championship. And of course, the next round of the championship moves to the Northwest as we go to Three Sisters Circuit near Wigan. But what a weekend here in the Northeast at Karting North East, the home of Warden Law, finishing the weekend under sunny skies with a perfect backdrop. It really doesn't get any better. Until next time then, from myself, Kev Harris, and all of the UKC team, thanks for watching. See ya.